Good morning. We've done it. I've done it. I have produced 50 edited videos in 50 days. Mind blown. If you've watched day one of the Quarantine Diaries, you will know that this is an entirely spontaneous decision. I was in the car randomly thinking about the chaos that the world was facing. It was a moment and I made that decision. It was quite a big deal, I have to say. And I suppose if you'd said to me that I'd carry on for 50 days, I actually wouldn't have believed you. Really interesting. So these videos have taken up a huge, great big whack of my life, as you know. But I have learnt so freaking much from doing them. I cannot tell you the stuff I have learnt, and stuff that I wouldn't have even expected to have learnt from this process. It's been ever so interesting. Just looking at that background. That's Johnny's desk, if you've ever wondered what the mess in the corner is all about. Like, he's a grown-up. If he wants a messy desk, then just try not to look at it. Look at the nice shiny fridge, or look at this sleepy face. So I guess I'm going to take you around my morning chores. Obviously, we're going to go and see Jet and the girls. That goes without saying. I think there'd be mutiny if you didn't get a load of Jet love in this video. It's a lovely day. It doesn't look to be very windy either, which is brilliant. So we can do lots of filming outside. And yeah, and hopefully you enjoy it. So as always, lovelies, kick back and relax and enjoy some time out on the farm. So you guys, you've seen my messy kitchen, you've seen my morning face with zero makeup on. I have let go of really intense editing because I haven't had the time. I've literally had to do really quick edits every day. And even then they've taken up to 4 or 5 hours at a time. But you guys, you've seen my life, and my life is messy and it's not perfect. So letting go of perfection is actually quite a blessing. And in this very highly curated, very shiny world that we see online of everybody in their perfect lives with their perfect bodies and their perfect families and their perfect houses. And you know what? It's not real. It's all curated. It's mostly false and glam and shine. What matters is finding a place in yourself that you're happy with, and also bringing a smile to someone else's day. That, for me, that's all that matters. So goodbye, perfection. Now, without you guys watching and commenting, sharing and chatting with me here in the comments on YouTube, but also in social media, there's no way I'd have made it to day 50. I kept going even on the tough days, or the many days where I just wanted to settle down after lunch and plug into Amazon Prime and do nothing but just watch telly. But I didn't, because I didn't want to let you guys down. I said I'd show up, so I showed up. And having that accountability was actually invaluable. I have learnt how to work, how to focus. And it all comes down to having a reason to do what you're doing. And previously, because I don't make money from YouTube, so it's not an actual legitimate part of my business, I do it because I enjoy it, and I hope that it will be a big part of my business in the future. But currently it's not. Currently I'm still at the baby stage of trying to build a channel, and I do want it to be successful. But showing up every week, or in this case every day, if you didn't have those people waiting for you, it would have been very easy not to show up. There's no way I'd have got to day 50, I know that for sure. So I kept the tech and the editing to the absolute most simple possible to create this series. So my phone is always in my pocket. It's always charged. I didn't have to mess around with memory cards or swapping out batteries or finding leads. Now, was the footage perfect? No, of course not. But then it never is, whether I use my phone or if I use my decent DSLR. I'm a foodie that shares my adventures online. I am not trained as a videographer or as an editor. So for me to strive for a perfect video is probably quite unattainable at this point. So by using my phone, by just knowing it's always there, it's always ready to go, it gave me less of a headache. And actually it gave me less anxiety because I had less that I had to like keep a tally of or keep a track of. It was literally, my phone is in my pocket. Now, Johnny didn't get much of a say in this project, and early on I'd just walk into a room and I'd switch off his radio and that got his back up. Or he'd be doing something and then he'd turn around and see me with a camera pointing at him. Like, when you're in your own home, let's be honest, that's not very nice. He didn't have any control over that, so pretty early on we had a conversation about it and we set some boundaries about what was and wasn't appropriate in our home and in our relationship as well. And there are parts of our home that we decided not to share, and that's a decision that we actually made a long time ago. There are public areas of our home, shall you say, and there are also private ones. So I think that if you're planning to do a project like this that is so intimate and personal in your life, I do think it's really important to take into consideration the other people in your life and don't just assume that they should get on with it, because that's actually not very kind. Man, when I am driven to create something with purpose, I am a ninja in the productivity department. I've never really known in the past just how much so, and this project has really highlighted that. I have pulled reserves out of nowhere to get these videos done and up and published. I'm quite proud of that, you know. I've got no idea overall how many hours I put into this project per week, but I can tell you it was a lot, way more than a full-time job. Probably closer to double full-time work hours. And that leads me on nicely to number 6. Now, the reason I started this project in the first place was thinking of a friend of mine who lives in London in a small flat in an area she doesn't like. She doesn't feel particularly safe in the area she lives in. And it really made me realise again just how lucky we are down here to go through quarantine on a farm. Obviously, we've got all this space around us, but also in such a rural area. So my friend, and no doubt thousands of other people like her, became my purpose. And if I could let anyone escape their 4 walls just for a few minutes each day, then I felt compelled to. Every day, Johnny and I will say to each other how lucky we are, not just in quarantine, but prior to that, we're always saying it. We know how lucky we are to live this life and this lifestyle. But it's never been as obvious as it has been during quarantine. And I'll say that if anyone out there is taking on a project or thinking of taking on a project and they're not sure if they can handle it, then I would say wholeheartedly find a purpose bigger than yourself, bigger than your bank account or bigger than your personal hopes and dreams. Find a purpose that fills a hole or a void in the world, because then you will work your tail off and you will push yourself further than you ever thought was possible, and you won't back down, and you will keep going until that project is complete or that project has been shared with enough people that it kind of takes on a life of its own. Now, you guys know filming takes a lot of time, but inevitably editing takes way more time, and it also takes a lot of brain effort too. Now, at one point during the quarantine diaries, I timed it and I realised that it took an hour for each 5-minute clip of finished video I produced. That's crazy! Now, it's only in the last week or so that I've realised that my best workflow for this project is to film in the morning and then edit that afternoon. If I leave editing till the next day, then I found that I wouldn't sleep well, and then I had this underlying anxiety knowing that the next day I was waking up with a deadline hanging over me. I hate deadlines. They do give me anxiety. I can't relax when I've got a deadline really close and it's like a black cloud hanging over me. Now, it's kind of a shame that it took me probably 40 days to work this out, that I need to film in the morning, then stop filming, and then just start editing. Because I'd always get to lunchtime and think, oh God, I haven't captured anything interesting. Nobody's going to want to watch this. There's nothing that people are going to engage with in this. So I'd keep filming, and that's not the answer. What I think I would do if I was continuing with this project, I think I would pick a theme for each day. I think that would also make it easier. So in the quarantine diaries, if we carried on from here, I would probably say, okay, tomorrow is going to be all about chickens. And that's all I'm going to film. I'm going to obviously go and poo pig. I'm going to egg collect. I'm going to go out with sweeties. I'm going to dig them a dust bath. I'm going to find them bugs. I'm going to go and sit in there and have a coffee with them and let them bite my fingers. Like, I could easily fill 10, 15, 20 minutes of footage with the chickens. Or I could do that with a cooking day, or I could do that with a gardening day, or I could do that with a walk on the coast path. If you guys hadn't shown up, if you hadn't commented, if you hadn't given me any feedback along the way, there is no way that this project would have continued past, I don't even know, week 1, 10 days, maybe a month. If you ever wonder how much impact you have on a creator online, whether it's a blogger or a YouTuber or somebody on Instagram, please know that your likes and your comments and your emails and your shares on social media, they're like an energetic fuel that keeps us creators going. So please never think that your comment doesn't matter, even if it's just a little thumbs up. And in this situation, because I'm an outgoing person and I'm not getting my interactions socially at the moment because of lockdown, having you guys there every single day was just magic. And I love the little community that we created down in the comments of each video. I love how you supported each other and how you helped each other out with stuff, and it was heartwarming. It was just so lovely. It actually reminded me of the early days of being a blogger. It was a very social thing. Nowadays, I see food blogging as being completely different. Basically, I'm just a recipe website and people Google me or they find me on Pinterest and then they visit. The community aspect of blogging, for me anyway, has definitely changed. But I found it again with YouTube, and that's so lovely. So there we have it, lovely people. That's me finished. I've just finished editing what you've just watched, and I just wanted to come back in and say very quickly that over the last few weeks, many of you have said, oh Jane, you're so productive, you get so much done, you do so much in a day, you've got so much energy. I'll just let you in on a little secret, right? If I hadn't been making these videos, a quarter of what you've seen me do would have got done. I'm really lazy. I don't like working really hard. But I tell you what, put yourself in a project like this, whack a camera in your face, and honestly, you will amaze yourself how much you can get done. So on that note, I need to thank you all for kicking me up the jacksie and getting this farm and getting the gardens looking so damn good. So thank you again. Right, lovelies, I'm out of here. Now I am planning to see you next week. I'm not entirely sure what day just yet, and I have no idea what the video will be about. I'm just looking forward to a couple of days of not doing very much at all, which sounds heavenly right now, and I'm quite interested to see if I end up walking around the house still talking to myself, even though I haven't got a camera in my hand. Right, as always, you know the drill by now, right? Keep smiling, look after each other. Thank you for hanging out with me for all these 50 days, and I'll catch up with you next week. Until then, mwah, big love. Over and out.